Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench for yet another installment of Facebook Marketplace Scores. Number 10 is what this one would be. This one is actually, could be titled Facebook Marketplace Steal of the Century, Score of the Century, Deal of the Century, whatever, because there's so much in it. So I will try to make this as quick as possible. However, there's a lot to show on this, so if you're interested in seeing this incredible score, stick around for the full duration because there's going to be a lot to talk about. So I was looking on Facebook Marketplace about a week or so ago. We'll just say it was a week ago. I don't remember. And I saw a Great Plains Super Decathlon 40 kit for sale. And I was like, cool. I've been looking for one of these kits for many years. And that was one of the first Great Plains kits I ever bought in 1988. So I saw that and I started communicating with the fellow. We set up a time, we negotiated a price. I got it for a much less than he was asking for it. But that's not even the gist of this particular deal. In the days that I was trying to arrange a pickup time for him, I happened to see another Facebook Marketplace item in the same area. Now these were both up in the Green Bay area. One was in Green Bay proper. So that's about an hour drive away from me. The second one was just a single ARF. It was a Wright Flyer 40T trainer. An ARF, just the ad had a single picture and it was listed at $25. And I'm like, $25? And it was just one picture of the outer box. So I started communicating with this seller and set up a time the same day to go pick up the Great Plains Super Sportster 40, or not Super Sportster, Super Decathlon 40, and then this Wright Flyer 40T ARF. And I'm thinking, cool, two planes, you know, awesome. So I get to the location to get the ARF first, and when I go up there, they open the door. It's a younger couple. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the floor there, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So when I started talking, I said, okay, well, here's your $25 for the plane. And she's like, well, all of this is for sale. And I said, well, that's very nice. There's a lot of really nice, cool stuff here. I said, but I only brought enough money, cash on hand, for this airplane and for my next stop. And she's like, well, we were just going to get rid of this for $50, but we'll just give it to you for $25. And I'm like, oh, wow. So the backstory is that these hobby items they had been holding on to for the last 20 years. Her father had passed away 20 years ago, if I recall what she told me correctly. Who knows how long he'd had these items. So these were her father's hobby items, and they were just sick of having them around. So I told her, I said, well, this stuff is worth a lot more than $25. And I said, unfortunately, I don't have that money with me. I said, but I would pay you much more than that. She's like, just take all of this stuff for $25. We don't want it around here anymore. So I was like, okay, thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much. And I loaded it all up. So what I'm going to do now, because there's so much here to show, I'm just going to quickly post the pictures I took when I got back to my apartment of 90% of the items that I got from this deal, and then we're going to go to the table and I'm going to talk about some of these things very quickly as I possibly can, and show you what they are. Now my intention is with these types of videos, if there's something in any of this lot of stuff that you are interested in me exploring a little bit deeper and going further into more information, or if there are items that you might possibly be interested in purchasing, that's something we can negotiate also. My intention with the Wright Flyer 40T ARF was I've had a lot of people asking me to do build videos. And I've been saying I'm absolutely not going to do a kit build video because I just don't have the space for that. Building a kit is more of a meditative task for me. It's not something I would do in public or try to do videos of. Plus there's plenty of other people that are doing kit builds, and my kit building skills are not nearly as good as theirs, so there's no point in me doing that. However, my intention of buying this ARF was slightly different, and it was that I was actually thinking about potentially, and let me know if you think this is a good idea if you stuck around this long in this video, I was thinking about doing an assembly video of a series of videos on assembling this ARF, finishing the assembly process, installing a radio, installing an engine, fuel tank, plumbing, testing it all out, and then having this thing basically ready to fly. Now what I would do with it at that point, I don't know. Now at the end of this video, I'll explain to you a little bit more about an issue that there could be with that video project. But I'm going to save that for the very end so that hopefully you'll watch the entire video. So now I'm going to turn this camera off and turn this camera on, and we're going to look at all of these items that I got as briefly as possible. And 1, 2, 3, go. Here we go. So hopefully I gave you enough time to kind of peruse those pictures quickly, and you know, if you're interested in watching this, you're going to be in for the long haul here, because this one could take me a little bit to show you all of these items. But apparently this individual had a Wright Flyer 40T or one of those ARFs, and he crashed it. So this is the first of 2 engines that I got, and the first of 2 radio systems that I got. So, and this is how it, you know, came to me. This is a Magnum XL46, and this is one that had the remote needle valve, which unfortunately did not survive. The fuel nipple sheared off, and this, which the fuel nipple shearing off, I might be able to get that threaded part out and replace that. But this bracket here is bent, and it's been my history that if you try to bend aluminum, cast aluminum, it breaks. But so here's the servo components. I haven't done anything with this, obviously, as you can see here, and I was just checking to see. So that's item number 1, or items number 1, the first radio. Now, the second part of that radio, the transmitter, is actually in this beautiful case. So I've got this nice transmitter case, and I've never ever had a transmitter case before. So this is definitely a keeper for me because, you know, it's beautiful. I've never had a transmitter case before. And I'm not sure what this cable is for, to talk to the animals. Oh, it actually has, maybe you can load. I don't know what that's for. I'd have to look in here and see. This is a Focus 4 transmitter. Obviously, the batteries in these things are shot. You know, after all those years, of course, they're NiCads. So that was the conclusion of that portion. Okay, so here we go. These are the non-crashed items that some of the non-crashed items that came with this Facebook Marketplace deal. And for whatever reason, I'm going to have to really do some editing for the lighting here, because the lighting just looks really crappy for some reason, and it's not like I go changing the color settings on my camera. But anyway, so starting here, one item, and I didn't put these prices on these items, so I'm not sure if they were planning on selling them. It looks like these were planning on being sold at a swap meet or something. I don't know. But anyway, first item here is a Dubro True Spin prop balancer. This is very similar in construction to the Robart prop balancer that I got in another Facebook Marketplace deal. New and packaged, never opened. Pretty awesome. This is a Master Air Screw razor plane. An excellent tool for builders. It also came with a package of razor blades for it. Here's a Master Air Screw balsa stripper. Very cool, new and packaged. Now it came with 4 of these. These are Cirrus servos. These are CS70 2-ball bearing Pro servos with the JR high-tech connector. Pretty awesome. So there are 4 total of these things. Let's go over here. Dubro. Here's something that I don't recall ever seeing in a package like this, is a fuel tubing, fuel filter, and fuel line clips. Convenient combo pack for added savings. Yes, because they like to sell these things individually and make a lot more money on them, so this is ideal. Let's see here. We got an Ace RC Auto Add-A-Trickle. Those of you that are familiar with Ace RC products will recognize this and probably throw you way back to in the time machine. Here, now, there was also a field box. flight box that had a, it was a Magnum, so this fellow either really liked Hobby Shack or he liked Magnum products. Had a Magnum power panel on it. So in that box there was other items that I took out. So there's a standard glow plug connector here for that. Let's see here. We've got that. Let's just start moving some of the stuff out of the way. MPI. I don't recall ever seeing this particular device. It's a InstaCheck. It's a little battery checker, which I'm going to demonstrate here in a few minutes. And then here's another MPI onboard battery checker that you plug into your receiver or aileron. I don't know. I can't remember where you plug that into. It'll probably tell me right here. I used to use these all the time the last few times I was flying. It was awesome. Here is a, who makes this? Oh, it's a Hi-Tech. Okay, it's just a Hi-Tech receiver. It's a Supreme 7/8 channel FM receiver. New in package. Never been used. Beautiful, beautiful item. Just beautiful. And finally, the biggest ticket item here is, as you saw in the first section there, there was a Magnum XL46 on that wrecked plane, and this one is a new in-box engine, 46A2. So I mean, another brand new in-box engine. It's just incredible. Now, that other one has a bent and broken needle valve, but I might have the means to repair that. So that is kind of, wow, some of the items here. And that's one of the things that the lady said. She said her dad never believed in having one of anything. She said he always had two of everything just in case, which I like that mentality because it's very helpful to me at this point because I scored some really awesome stuff. So very quickly, I just want to talk about this little MPI InstaCheck thing. This is cool. I just so happen to have a brand new purchased 4.8 volt receiver pack, 2000 milliamp hour pack here. I purchased this and another one a few months ago when I was playing with those radios so I could get radios ready to go. But I just wanted to check and see if this thing actually works. So I'm just going to plug it in here and there we go. It says full. Now, I purchased this and I never charged it yet. So with nickel metal hydride batteries, they ship them in a charged state of some point, but I have learned in the past that really you don't just grab these batteries or buy them and just charge them. You really need to cycle them. So one item that I forgot to talk about at all, which I'm about to put on the table here, is really what was it. In addition to the Magnum engine and new in a box, this was a jaw dropper for me, which was this. This is an Ace Digipace 3, Super Digipace 3. Ace RC had a lot of good electronic items. I mean, and this was one of them. And the thing is, this is brand new, and it couldn't be any more brand new than this. I mean, the packages have never even been opened. Everything is still as it came from the factory. Even this bag that the Digipace itself is in has never been opened. So this was the one thing I was like, holy moly, that was incredible. And the fact of the matter is, the thing that makes this Super Digipace 3 different than the 2 and the 1, I think at least the 1 for sure, maybe not the 2, is that this actually doesn't only do just NiCad batteries. It actually has software built in, circuitry and software built in to cycle nickel metal hydride batteries, which is what this pack is. So that's why I thought this was super cool, because had this been an earlier version that only did NiCads, this would be pretty much a doorstop. Because, I mean, or a museum piece, because, you know, nobody uses NiCads anymore. I still use nickel metal hydride, and I probably will as long as they're offered. So for me, this is actually a super cool device, because this will make it so much easier for me to cycle both my transmitter and receiver batteries. Now, this doesn't really charge at a super high rate, so you got to know a few days in advance before you're going to need to use it, especially because when this was made, they weren't making 2,000 milliamp hour batteries, and they weren't in 3,800 in these huge capacities. They were typically around maybe the 600 to 800 milliamp hour batteries. So this thing, the charge circuitry is set up such that it's only like a 70 milliamp or 140 milliamp hour charge rate. So it's pretty slow. It's a slow charge rate, but if you're not going to fly for days, then you can use this. So anyway, in conclusion, I want to talk about that Wright Flyer 40T again. And I think I had that here somewhere. I was going to show you, do a little show and tell. So when I was looking at that Wright Flyer 40T last night, I was doing a little rather in-depth inspection of it, and I know it's in here. I can't find it. Right here. This is what it is right here. There's some damage to the inside the fuselage. One of the formers is broken half. There's some other, so it looks like it had, over the course of time and being moved around or shuffled or whatever, it has incurred some damage. So that kind of puts a little bit of a kibosh on the assembly video series. Not really, but it needs to be fixed, because if I'm going to assemble this thing to the point where it's able to fly, that has to be fixed. And of course, many of you know that, you can't just go and buy rolls of covering that look like this. So I'm trying to come up with an idea of how, if I can just say this is the side of the fuselage and here's the formers in here, I'm wondering if I could just like cut a window of the covering and just lift the covering up and out of the way enough so that I can go in there and do what I need to do, fix things, add formers, braces, whatever, and then just lay that back down and then use either packing tape to hold it in place so you really can't see, or what. I think in the past they used to sell clear monocoat, but even then, how is that going to help me? You still have to, if you want to maintain the integrity of the covering and don't have this big different color on the side there, that's one of the things I have to figure out. I have to figure out how much covering do I actually have to remove. I mean, because the former that's damaged is, like, here's say this is the wing, and the fuselage front is this way and the tail is this way. This is the last former before at the aft of the wing. Well, the former, it's another former back here that was broken. And this one here looks like the fuselage got kind of crunched up, and so there's issues here and there's issues back here. So it's more in the tail back end aft of the wing where the damage needs to be repaired. So it's like, I'm not sure. I got to figure out how I can open the covering up enough so that I can hopefully close it back up again and make it look good, and still, I don't know. So anyway, that's one of the things, if anybody's got suggestions on that. But so that ARF does need a little bit of repair. So that's my video for today, and if you have any ideas or if you want to see any of these other items more close up, just let me know.